Welcome to 4 Minutes Closer to God. My name is Doug. We have talked about angels in the past, angels as an overarching category for celestial beings created by God, but also angels as the rank of angel or being closest to humans, the messenger angels. And so at the top or closest to God's throne are the seraphim. So what do the seraphim look like? We get them in Isaiah with 6 wings, 2 to cover their face, 2 to cover their feet, and with 2 they fly, and they attend to God in heaven. But they also have ministered to Isaiah, so we get that in Isaiah 6:6. One seraphim flew to me, in his hand was a glowing coal. Isaiah had complained, being a man of unclean lips, and so the seraphim came and addressed that issue. The seraphim comes from the word seraph, and that word means to burn, which is as in a fire, but also means a snake. And so what do seraphim actually look like besides the 6 wings? It's very possible they have a serpentine appearance. And so we also then have the word nachash. In that word, we get our phrase for serpent, which is in Genesis 3, 1 and following. So there the serpent is the craftiest or wiliest of God's creation and comes to Eve and says to her, "You will not surely die." The serpent told her, "For God knows that in the day you eat of it, your eyes will be open and you will be like God, knowing good and evil." The figure of speech here, good and evil, is a merism which encompasses all possible knowledge. And so they were trying to jumpstart their task of assuming dominion over the world. And instead of doing it bit by bit over time, they tried to assume all knowledge onto themselves at once, which was not God's plan. And so they were cursed, and we get that in Genesis 3:15. I will put enmity between your seed and her seed. He shall bruise your head, the seed of the woman, and the seed of the serpent shall strike at his heel. And so that sets up the whole battle between good and evil throughout the rest of Scripture. So why would we say that seraphim are serpent-like? We get in various places in the Bible the idea of seraph is burning, and the word for snake, and nachash is serpent, but also the idea of copper, brass, or bronze. And so when Moses was leading the people out of Egypt, and they were in the desert, there was a lot of vipers and adders and poisonous snakes with venom and the like. The people spoke against God and Moses. "Why have you brought us out of Egypt to die in the wilderness? For there's no food, no water. And we loathe this worthless food." They were referring to manna. Then the Lord sent fiery serpents among the people, and they bit the people, so many of Israel died. And the people came to Moses and said, "Oh, we have sinned, for we have spoken against the Lord and against you. Pray to the Lord that he take away the serpents from us." So Moses prayed for the people, and the Lord said, "Make a fiery serpent, set it on a pole, and everyone who is bitten, when he sees it, shall live." So Moses made a bronze serpent and set it on a pole, and if a serpent bit anyone, he would look at the bronze serpent and live. So this is in the Old Testament. In the New Testament, Jesus in John 3:14 talks about the Son of Man being lifted up, as was this brazen serpent in the desert. And so because Jesus is taking away the sin of the world, and the brazen serpent in the desert had a similar function, that's called the type, the brazen serpent, typical prophecy, and the fulfillment, the antitype, is Jesus in John 3:14. And so we have Jesus taking on the serpent and undoing, recapitulating his sin, his fall, and Jesus is making it possible for humans, by way of his sacrifice, to be reconciled with God. And so we have also then Isaiah 36 saying, through a land of hardship and distress, with lions and lionesses, there are vipers and flying serpents. The serpent there is a seraph, and they are flying. One of the things about the burning nature of these serpents is, like a cobra, spitting cobra burns your eyes, but also the bite is very painfully burning. And so we have these serpents that will cause this problem. And so hundreds and hundreds of years later, Hezekiah removed the high places and broke the pillars down and cut down the Asherah idols. And he broke in pieces the bronze serpent that Moses had made, for until those days the people of Israel had made offerings to it. And he called it Nehushtan. So here, Nehushtan is a pun off the word for snake, Nahash, or the word for bronze, Nehoset. And so may indeed mean the great serpent. So it is reasonable to connect all these elements and propose that Satan was an initially impressive, divine, and shiny angelic being, member among other divine beings who, just like him, were serpentine looking, but not yet actually snakes.